The year was 1980. I remember it so clearly because times were actually hard. More so that year because my father had been made redundant and my mum had abandoned us and was now living with her new lover. After leaving us in thousands of pounds worth of debt, I remember watching my father as he changed, becoming a bitter and angry man, but also a violent man. I remember Christmas that year because as a boy, it seemed so hard, so much so that Christmas was like every other Christmas leading up to that year of 1980 and even after. They were, how could I describe it, miserable and so unpleasant and full of so much hurt. I remember them so clearly. I remember that I'd not been as good as a boy as I should have been. Maybe it was my way of dealing with a life of violence, poverty, and hurt. But I soon convinced myself that the life of abuse that I was enduring was my fault. Living and watching my father drink himself into a drunken stupor every single night, I asked myself, was it something I did? Or was it my punishment for my bad behaviour? All I know is 1980 was the worst Christmas ever. And it was a time of fear and of very little joy and any goodwill to man. I prayed every night to God. I prayed that I wouldn't have to sleep with one eye open and be a victim of another one of my dad's drunken rages. Now I'm older and I'm in my 40s. I see my father from time to time. I try to forgive him, but I can't seem to find the forgiveness in my heart. Because, to be honest, I'm reminded of the constant living nightmare that I had to endure. But I remember as a child and how I actually prayed for death. No child should even have to contemplate that thought. I asked myself constantly, over and over, did my mom or my dad ever love me? Or was I just born to be their punch bag, both physically and emotionally? I often, as a boy, retreated into my own little fantasy world, my way of protecting myself, I guess. With what I was going through, I wanted to speak out, but a fear of abandonment or ever being loved stopped me. And to be honest, I kept quiet. I stayed silent and suffered in silence. I remember as a child that I wanted to reach out to somebody, and I thought, who? I had no idea. Who could I turn to? The authorities had no idea what was going on. So I reached out to Santa. I wrote to Santa Claus. But that year, I'm not sure if he heard me or got my letter. I have no idea. But I did ask for two things in my letter. Firstly, I asked for a train set. Absolutely fine. Every boy's little dream. But secondly, especially when things got really bad, I asked for Santa to come and rescue me. Rescue me from this living hell I was enduring. But, as I said, obviously, Santa didn't get that letter. But I asked myself every single day, even now, was it because I'd been bad? To be honest, I just don't know. All I really know is I survived. I survived that living hell. And now I can speak out without fear, without getting hurt. And finally, feel my voice can be heard. This was my living hell, my living nightmare, my nightmare Christmas.